So the world, those who are lost, protest that God is crazy and Christians are crazy to believe that there is only one way. George Barna also said this: many committed, born-again Christians believe that people have multiple options for gaining entry to heaven. What they are saying in essence is, personally, I am trusting Jesus as my means of gaining God's permanent favor and a place in heaven. But someone else could get to heaven based upon living an exemplary life, being a good person. Some say I get to heaven because I'm a good person. Here's the problem with that thinking. If you're in here and you think that, here's the problem with that thinking. So the problem is, by what standard are you comparing yourself to? By what standard am I comparing myself to if I say I'm a good person? See, man's standards, you might be a good person, you might not, but according to God's standard, you could never be. So when people say, well, I go to heaven because I'm a good person, I have to ask. I mean, it begs the question, what standard are you referring to? Because, folks, here's the bottom line when it talks about being a good person. Who decides that? So some people say, I'm a good person. I don't drink or smoke or cuss. But they could be meaner than a junkyard dog, They're just mean. But I'm a good person. Some other might say, well, I drink and smoke and cuss, but I'm nice to people. I cuss nicely at them. Whatever, so what's the standard? It doesn't make any sense. I'm a good person. Well, what standard is that? Some people say I'm a good person because I've never hurt anybody. How do you know that? How do you know? How many of you have ever been dating somebody and you broke up with them? Unless that person was just so happy to get rid of you, you probably hurt them. I mean, unless they said, walked away going, yes, yes, yes. Thank God he broke up with me. Thank God she's going somewhere else. Good luck, buddy. Woo! Unless that happened, you hurt somebody. How many have driven in New Mexico? I mean, if you've lived in Albuquerque a while, driven in New Mexico, most of us have experienced it. You're driving along, just driving. And all of a sudden, someone comes up behind you or beside you and starts giving you sign language telling you you're number one. How many have experienced that? Come on, most of us. Yeah, see, so here's what's crazy. How do you know you didn't hurt them and offend them and make them angry? Because you did something. I've had that happen. I'm like, I don't even know what I did, dude. I'm just driving. I don't understand. But the problem is you might have hurt them. So that doesn't hold water. And so what was considered a good person 30 years ago may not be considered one today. And so because it's always moving, that's why that kind of thinking doesn't hold water. Because when you measure against man's standards, you might be good. But if you're measured against God's standards, God said nothing you do could make you good. Nothing you can do can make you good enough to have a relationship, to be privileged to have a relationship with me. That's why I sent Jesus the way to the earth, because I so loved you. I knew you could never be good enough for me. But if I sent my son, who was all God and all man, Jesus Christ, if I sent him to the earth and he paid a price for you, he paid the price that you owed, then all of a sudden you're good not because of you, but because of him. That's the good news. That's what the Bible teaches. Proverbs 14:12 says this: there is a way which seems right to a man and appears straight before him, but at the end of it is the way of death. See, man is always looking for the easiest way, isn't it? Aren't we? The way that is the most comfortable and requires little or no commitment. The way that requires no change of life. Yeah, I want to have a relationship with God, but I want to change what I do or how I talk or the things I say. See, that's the way we do. We tend to look for the easiest route. The Message Bible says, Proverbs 14:12 from the Message Bible, and I quote, there's a way of life that looks harmless enough. Look again, it leads straight to hell. Sure, those people appear to be having a good time, but all that laughter will end in heartbreak if we're not careful. Because there's always a way that seems right to a man. Man's intellect, as limited as we are, says there's got to be more than one way. It doesn't make sense. It's unfair to think there's only one way. And God said it's not about being fair. It's about being privileged to have a relationship with me. And folks, I'll be honest with you, the more I learn about the Bible, the more I am thankful. Because I realize that nothing I do can merit heaven, can merit a relationship with God, but I'm so grateful that Jesus came and paid a price so now I can have a relationship with God. And when I die, if I live right, I can enter heaven. Because when you get to heaven and they say, well, if I don't know how it works, but just say God says or Jesus says, why should I let you in? And you say, because I'm a good person. They're going to laugh. They're going to say, wow, so your goodness can meet my holiness. No man's goodness can reach a God that's holy. 4 roads that I'm going to talk about quickly. But only one is the right road. These are basically the roads people take. Number 1, there's the working road. The working road, it means, or people believe that, and many religions declare, that you have to work hard to get to their heaven.